Let's go. Good morning. So I was hoping for more participation, but I guess if you don't have Docker in your talk, then the room doesn't get full. So the idea today was really to have a more interactive session to talk about what we have and where we should go with the booth boxes. I'm going to start out with a very brief history of where we were, what we had in between, and where we are today. And then hopefully we can come up with some ideas to improve what we have today. Okay, so a brief history, where we are now, and what we need to do. Basically, get some feedback and see what people think. Okay, so brief history. A long time ago, we had a la carte marketing material, meaning basically we had a website and somebody could go there and say, please ship me 200 DVDs because I'm going to an event and I want to represent OpenSUSE. That was pretty much the only thing that we had that was organized, and then we had ad hoc other materials. Sometimes there were stickers, and sometimes there were t-shirts, and sometimes there was nothing. But nothing of that was really organized, and everything was kind of back channels, and stuff was there or it wasn't. So that was difficult. But DVDs we had consistently, right? But anything else, people were kind of on their own. Then at some point, everything was stopped, and it was decided that we needed a new approach. During that time, the idea of the booth boxes was born, and we eventually ended up with what we have today, the booth boxes in some kind, shape, or form. So in general, obviously I think we are much better off today with the material that we have than we were previously, because there was no consistent material. However, not having anything for a while did kind of put a dent in the project. So where we are today, and as I said, this is going to be very, very quick. So where we are today is there's an app for that. So we have an application where contributors can request a booth box. They have to tell us about the event and what they're going to do there when they get the booth box. We have basically two sizes of booth boxes, small events and large events. And a large event is basically the same, but a small booth box doubled. And so this is really a one-size-fits-all. The content is predetermined. So whatever's in the booth box, we have decided what goes in it, and that's what we ship out. And it is refreshed when we run out. Okay, so the first round of booth boxes that was ordered more than a year ago, we used everything up, and then there was a refresh cycle. Some of the stuff we reordered, other things were changed. If you've been to the OpenSUSE table, you see we have this nice new booklet that's really cool. Previously that was just a one-sheet flyer with a zipper cheat sheet on the back or something like that, and so now it has more information. It's hopefully a better conversation starter. And so that's some of the refresh that happens when we're out of material, when we do new stuff. However, and of course we have the local reimbursement program, so that was also reinstated just about a year ago or so. And if you're interested in making flyers locally, or you translate some of the material that's in the booth box and you want to print that out, that's what the local reimbursement is for. So when it's a small event, or for making posters or things like that, just request the money and have your bill, send it in, and you get your money back, hang up your posters or whatever you're doing. So the local reimbursement is really for small events, whereas a booth box would be way too much. Okay, and so that's running, and it's being used for a few things, but there's certainly room. More people can use it, right? So what we're not getting so much is feedback, so we don't really know all that well what works and what doesn't work. And so we need more feedback to be able to better adjust the content the next time around we create new material, okay? So what is working, right? What is working from a Boothbox perspective? We don't necessarily hear that feedback. And working in this case means what is a good conversation starter, right? If I give if I lay out 1 million pens when I run a booth at a show, they're all gonna be gone, right? But that doesn't mean it's working, right? That just means that people walk by the table and they grab a pen. Working is you start a conversation and you can engage somebody to make them interested in OpenSUSE. Just by handing out a pen, yes, then somebody else sees that they went to the OpenSUSE booth and they got a pen, but that doesn't make them talk about the project or the distribution or whatever we do, right? We want to start a conversation. So what is working? Is it working if I hand somebody a DVD and say, here, go try that? Is that a good conversation starter? You know, we don't know. So that's something we need feedback from the people that actually go and do the events. And then another thing, of course, is it worth spending time at that same event again the year after, right? That's always something we have to think about. When you go to an event and the event website says, oh, there are going to be 500 people, and then you go there and there's 50 showing up, well, maybe that's not worth going to again next year. I don't know, but the person that goes has to make that determination to see if we actually started conversations, if we had conversations about the project and about OpenSUSE. And so this is basically all that I had for the presentation, right? So this is the outline, and then from here we can talk about, do we need DVDs? Okay, so for example, for this time around, for OpenSUSE 13.2, there was no plan for us to make DVDs. And then a sponsor showed up and said, here, we'll ship you a few thousand DVDs and you can hand them out. And that was fantastic, right? Is that something we want to, try and keep in the future? Do we want to approach the sponsor again and say, for the next release, do you want to give us some DVDs? Or, do people not want them? I mean, that's feedback that we need, right? Do we need limited material selection options, right? So maybe instead of having one size fits all, the application where you order, where you ask for the booth box, could have, for this event, I need more of this and less of that. So basic, somewhat a la carte selection for your event. So that, that's a question. Does stuff need to be localized? Do the people that are interested in that have people that are willing to translate the English literature into the local language? And then how would, what would that look like? So those are some discussion starters. I'm really finished because, I was hoping that we have more of a group to have an interactive discussion, but since there are only 4 of you and 1 of me, I don't know. But if you have opinions, please let's talk about it.
I was just wondering if, for example, in the situations of pens or how you, as a just a conversation starter, how about some transitive effects, like when you give someone a pen, he took it to his office or friends, and someone there asked about it. So if you are wondering about that too, some delayed conversation starters, I would say.
Right, and like a pen could do that, right? Or, I mean, now we have USB sticks or whatever. Yes, they could be that delayed conversation starter. However, I think if they take something and you don't talk to them right then and there, and then they go back to the office or where else, and then they get asked about it, then they don't really have anything to say, right? Because they picked up no information. They picked up something, right? And so I think it is important to have those conversation starters when, have an interaction when you're representing the project.
That's fine. Actually, we do these things locally in China. In one way, we compose some survey on our booth and get some feedback from the attendees. That's two reasons. The first one is in China, if we have the conference, a lot of people there. You don't have too much time to talk to each of the guys who take a pen. That's the reason. The other one is, if I were standing in booth and talk with the people, just I got the feedback. If I didn't talk to you or the other people, nobody knows what we talk. So we intended to set up some questions and get more feedback, then give him or her a pen.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Anything else? Okay. Thank you.